On today's
I
show,
honestly wasn't doing the best in life prior to that and was running with the wrong crew, not doing good in school whatsoever, no clue what I was doing in life. And honestly, as much of a tragedy as it was what saved my life because that's what helped me get my life on track and realize how short life is.
It is time to get things going once again for Kansas Sports Chatter, a statewide high school sports entertainment show streaming on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. This is the allergy edition show of KSC. Whew, it's been a struggle. Like you talk about struggle bus. Yeah, I've been driving it today. Like I feel like I could be an Academy Award winning actor, like when they have to like cry on command or like get watery eyes, like bloodshot and just sniffles and like a really sad emotional scene. Like I could be that today, but we're going to push through because we got our guests ready to roll. It is going to be Avery Jensen, also Eden Britton of St. Francis High School. They'll have our leadoff question. Andy Brown with Keisha Covered will talk things about Gardner Edgerton. How about a really talented pole vaulter out of Gardner Edgerton? Softball team rolling as well. We'll talk with Andy Brown about that. Melissa Schoepf, head coach of the TMP-Marian Monarchs softball team. Great season so far for the Monarchs. We'll talk with Coach Schoepf. Dillon Tarn with Beat Baseball. If you're not familiar with it, you're going to today if you listen to the interview and watch the interview with Dillon Tarn, originally from Abilene High School, and it's part of Beat Baseball, which is an adaptive sport for blind and visually impaired athletes. Great stuff with Dillon. And then Mason Voth with K-State Online, covering Kansas State's university athletics. He'll be on talking about some of his favorite Kansans that competed for K-State in both basketball and football. We get today's show rolling with our leadoff question. It's today's leadoff question with Avery Jensen, a member of the St. Francis track and field team. Avery, the question, what's your favorite highlight of your high school career so far?
Um, oh my goodness, I have a lot. I think probably my best highlight would be state track. My favorite state track year would probably be my junior year because I had qualified in 3 different events and I placed fifth in the state in the 300 hurdles. And I think it was just really fun to see how much all of my hard work had paid off and how much my team and community members had supported me. And yeah, it was just amazing. It's something I'll never forget.
What was your mentality like going into the state meet? Like, do you kind of remember some of the feelings you had going into it?
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of adrenaline. I was like clammy hands, heart beating really fast. It was awesome though. I strive in the adrenaline though, so I really enjoyed it.
How long have you been doing track and field?
Just my 6th grade year.
So what got you interested in track?
Kind of like I was always just a sportsy girl. I did volleyball, wrestling, basketball, track. I did swim team. I was on the cheer and dance team. I've kind of always just been that athletic little girl, and track just happened to be one of the sports I was really good at.
So for like how much training do you put into track as far as just kind of working on your individual events?
Well, I lift on my own time, and then on top of that, I have obviously track practice every day, and then I have a plyometric hour throughout the school day that I do.
What are some of your goals this year?
Oh goodness, I definitely want to place at state again this year in May, and I also hope to, be a starter on my future collegiate volleyball team, and I hope to play Hawaii volleyball again this summer.
There you go. That's Avery Jensen, member of the St. Francis track and field team. It's today's leadoff question with Eden Britton, a member of the St. Francis track and field team. Eden, the question, what's your favorite highlight of your high school career so far?
Yeah, so high school is something that not everyone can be good at, and high school is a learning period for everybody. My favorite part of high school is definitely track and field. I love track. It's been a part of me since I was in 7th grade. Um, Being a small school and having only 15 people on the track and field team is not everyone's cup of tea. And as a freshman, I made it to state, and that was a big impact on our tiny school because we're only 1A. And making it to state showed everyone what our high school really is, and we really reach for success. So definitely go for what you want and don't just play by the rules. If you want something, actually work for it, and that's just the game.
So like you mentioned in 7th grade, kind of getting interested, like what first kind of sparked that interest? Was there something that caused you to, okay, I'm going to go give track a try?
Yeah, so it kind of was, I'm from Colby, Kansas, so it was like, it's a big school, and so I was like, oh, everyone else is doing it, I'm gonna do it. And so we all were just at the high jump pit messing around, and I was like, I'm gonna give this a try. And so then I ended up like not being bad at high jump, and it just kind of stuck with me since then.
When you made it to states, did that spark maybe extra excitement, I guess, with the track and field program there at St. Francis?
Yeah, I did. I wasn't expecting to make it to state in 3 events as a freshman. Like coming in at that young of age, making it to state, so many people there, like all eyes on you, and then making on the podium, and then just reaching my goal every time. It was just like a dream come true for me, and nerves, excitement, everything in that moment.
What are some of your goals this year?
I plan to make it to state in all 4 events. I'm running the 1, 2, 4x1, and high jump. I hope to break the 200-meter record. I want to make it to state, all of my goals. I just want to be I want to make my name known before I leave, before I graduate.
That's Eden Britton with St. Francis Track and Field. Thanks once again to Avery Jensen and Eden Britton of St. Francis High School with our leadoff questions. Sponsors today, Meyers Enterprises. Stand out from the noise, grow your business, schedule a free consultation with Meyers Enterprises. And Eastis Media, one of the best media coverages of any high school out there with Cody Eastis. Eastis Media, the voice of the Pratt High Greenbacks. We'll take a break. When we come back, Andy Brown. We'll talk Gardner Edgerton athletics with KSHSAA covered writer Andy Brown.
Power outages don't wait for a convenient time, and neither should you. Right now is the perfect season to invest in a standby generator from Wheatland Electric Cooperative. With low monthly payments and special financing for co-op members, reliable backup power is more affordable than you think. We'll help you survey, install, and finance a Generac standby generator, all with professional installation you can trust. Protect your home, your comfort, and your peace of mind before the next storm hits. Get a free quote today and make life without power a thing of the past. Visit us online or call us to get started today.
Being hydrated is essential for performing at your best. Remember to drink plenty of water before, during, and after practice or games. Fuel your body with hydration, balanced meals, and rest to recover and stay fit. Staying healthy means you maintain your strength and continue performing at your best. Hydrate your way to success.
Getting back at it here for Kansas Sports Chatter as we bring in our next guest, and that is going to be Andy Brown, one of the writers for KSHSAA Covered. You can check out their work at KSHSAAcovered.com. All right, picking things up. Let's start with track and field. Gardner Edgerton, I'll let you introduce this one. I mean, he's caught a lot of headlines across the state for what he's been able to do.
Oh, yeah. I mean, senior pole vaulter Mason Hill has just he had a great year his junior year. I think he was clearing 16.9, won a Sunflower League title, I think won regionals, but then, it didn't go as well as he wanted to at state. He cleared just like 15 feet, but that Gardner Edgerton program is just pole vault tradition rich. They had the top 3 kids on the podium last year at state. He wanted that state title, finished second to a teammate, Carter Keyser. And, I think that fueled that motivation, and it didn't take long for him to show what he had been working on all year long, because he pulled off the second highest clearance in the pole vault ever in state history at the Mike Wallace Invitational. I think he cleared 17.6.5, which was, I think it's just a couple inches behind Andover Central's Bryce Berkdahl. So, he's just right there on the cusp of it. And it was an awesome way to start a track and field year. And, with track, you seem to kind of have to get ramped up for a lot of this stuff to get your best times or clearances or whatever it is. But he wasted no time, and he's on a mission this year for sure.
Reading your article and just like what I was able to pick up, it seemed like he's a very confident kid. Was that kind of what you picked up too?
Yeah, I think so. I think as a vaulter, you kind of have to be, it's a very mental event in track. Because there's so many different things that can go wrong during a time, whether you're take off at the wrong point or the weather or whatever it is, but he's has all the confidence in the world that not only he wants to break the state record, he wants to get to 18 feet, which would obviously clear it by a few inches, and would just be an amazing accomplishment for him. I mean, he's going to KU next year to pole vault, so obviously he's very experienced in what he does. But that confidence helps. But also, just talking with him and head coach Brian McGee, it's the coaching, I think, is also a big part of it. They have a pole vault coach named Thane Nonamaker, who's all he's done is coach track for 50 years. He's just been a staple there at Gardner, coached 15 state champions, dozens of state medalists. And it's just been a great match for them. And, along with, Mason, there's another teammate of his, Ben Carlin. He's clearing 16 feet, and they're the only program in the state that has two 16-foot pole vaulters, and that's the only time that's ever happened under Thane's leadership in 50 years. That's 5 decades. That's the first time that's ever happened. It's pretty cool to kind of see those guys, they root each other on, and, I think they just push each other to get better.
So, it's like a pole vaulter basically, like a pole vaulter high school. But what else do they have around for the Gardner Edgerton track program? I think they're just kind of balanced all over. They got a good distance runners. They got speed, but I think, when it comes to, at least this year, it seems like it's pole vaulters. And last year too, they just seem to really do that year in and year out. Staying with Gardner Edgerton, continuing to have some good programs. Their softball team, man, they put some impressive numbers so far. Yeah,
I think they're off to I believe it's 16 or 17-1 start last time I checked. They have just been, they were a good team last year. They've always been pretty good. I think the last time they placed at state was 2022, I think, or 2021, and they took third maybe. But they just seem to have it all clicking this year. They have a great senior senior laden team. They have 7 seniors, and led by the Sunflower League Player of the Year and Charlie Lattiman. She's just amazing at the plate and in the field at short. So they've got great leadership. And then you have like players like Kylie Kyle, Morgan Beasley that have all just kind of picked up the slack along the way. And then they have 2 freshmen, Bella Garcia and Aspen Walker, that have done a lot for them this year, just kind of supplement some of that talent that they brought back from a year ago. And so it's been I think they're on a 12-game winning streak right now or something like that. So their only loss was to, a very good Mill Valley team that currently leads the Sunflower League right now, but they're right there with them. So just a dangerous team that is scrappy and that will pull together and kind of do whatever it takes to win. And it's a dangerous team come postseason time.
Andy, you gearing up for the postseason? Like, you're getting ready for the final stretch here the next few weeks?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. State tennis will be here in a couple of weeks before you know it, and then it gets into golf and swim and all that fun stuff. So, like I've said before, postseason is my favorite time of year. That's when you see the kids at their best, and there's nothing more fun to do than that.
Hey, Andy, appreciate the time, and have fun the rest of the season.
Appreciate you, Cole. Thank you.
That is Andy Brown, one of the writers for KSHSAA Covered. You can view their work at KSHSAAcovered.com. Here's a hard truth. If your business isn't using AI in its marketing, you've already fallen behind. But there's an advertising agency in Kansas that can get you back up to speed. That agency's name is Meyers Enterprises Media Research. The name sounds dry because the company's run by engineers, not salespeople. They use superior research and analytics that drive results with surgical precision. Marketing doesn't have to be a gritty battle in the trenches. Your business can win from the box. Visit their website, mediaresearch.agency, to learn more. Welcome back on the show. It's time to bring in our next guest, and that is going to be Melissa Schoepf. She is the head coach of the TMP-Marian softball team, off to a great start. Coach, appreciate you coming on the show. You talk about the great start. Just how much fun has this spring been so far for you and the girls?
Right. We're off to a really good start, and I've been pleased with seeing the girls progress and kind of taking care of business when we need to, and really looking forward to seeing where we can go. We've hit the second part of the season. We always talk about the first part of the season and the second, and this is actually the most important part of the entire season, is to see how we can get ourselves ready for regionals and see some good competition here going into the stretch to really help us push to where we need to get.
You mentioned, watching the girls progress, go to the beginning of the season into now, like what things have you kind of seen the improvement in?
One thing we always talk about is just kind of the mental toughness piece and always trying to just kind of step that up. And I think from where we kind of have been, and these girls have been playing ball for a really long time. So that's nothing new that they've been pushed mentally and physically, but just wanting to see if we can continue. We've got a really tough schedule coming up these next couple of weeks, and I think it's going to test us mentally and just to see if we can continue on. We always talk, if things are, it's easy to hit the ball or it's easy to be relaxed at the plate or be relaxed on defense when we have a big lead. But I'm curious to see how our mental toughness holds up when, we're in a tight ball game or it's coming down to the last out that we've got to make or we got to get a hit. Just to see that piece is going to be really important for us.
You bring up mental toughness as a coach. I mean, this can apply to any sport, but as a coach for you in softball, is that something that you can, I don't know, say teach, or is that something, players either have it or they don't? So how do you kind of infuse that into your players?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. I think sometimes you're kind of born with that ability to just want to face that challenge. And sometimes it's something that we have to work through, trying to stay confident, because it's, especially if I'm thinking in my head, I'm thinking like a hitting slump. When you get in a hitting slump, trying to get out of something like that, when your head starts messing with you and pressure. But I also think that's something that can be taught. Practice pressure situations, things count. We're always tracking hits and we're tracking errors and we're tracking all that. So we're always putting the pressure on them, whether it's on the offensive side or defensive side. And all that does is just kind of help make sure when the real thing comes, we're prepared. And so I think it's a little bit of both.
At the time of this recording, I was looking at your schedule. You've given up 21 runs in 16 games, a lot of shutouts, and I think 10 of those runs came in that second game of the season against Sylvan Lucas. So, impressive numbers defensively. Whether it's pitching or defense, what has stood out so well that has made you guys so effective on that end?
I would say definitely some of our hitting pieces. We've been trying to, I always tell them, we're always moving lineups here at the beginning of the season to kind of see what works. But I'm pleased with where we are with the lineup. I feel like strong numbers from 1 through 9. Sometimes when you're trying to pitch against teams, you're trying to work around the number 4 hitter or the number whatever hitter, doesn't any of them. But with our team, I feel like one of our advantages is it's hard to pitch through all of them. They're all pretty strong, and not only strong in the lineup, there's other ones that can step in at any time in that role and pick up the slack at that point too. So that stands out to me. Defensively, we're making plays. We are always looking at our defense efficiency, trying to keep it above a certain number, 60%. And we've been successful. And the girls know that that's the number we're looking for and how to make that number happen. And so I felt like the defense has definitely helped. But the pitching side has done a really good job this season with Bryn and Bria, our 2 pitchers. They're going in and they're both very different and complement each other. So that's been helpful too.
Those numbers and those goals that you have set for the team, how much are the girls kind of aware of that? And you mentioned, are you telling them all the time or are they always kind of, self-aware of it?
We never really talk individual type stats with them. It's more of the defense as a whole, where we want to be. They know what our number is defensively. We always talk about our assistant coach, Connor Nickel, does a great job with stats. He gets us all kinds of data that we can apply with the team. And so we're looking at defense efficiency. We're looking at on base percent, as a team, how often are we getting on base? We've been breaking down, because one thing that I wasn't happy with at the beginning of the season is it didn't matter what inning we were in. Our leadoffs weren't necessarily finding a way on. So part of our focus and practice and the games now that we're kind of tracking is every inning, what percent of our leadoffs are able to get on, because as a math person, we know that if you can get the leadoff on, your percentages go way up to be able to move and score.
All right, you bring up Connor Nickel. Like, what's it like having Connor on the staff? I mean, I got to imagine it's like a database of information for you.
Right. I've got two great assistant coaches. Our volleyball coach at TMP is our other assistant. So she knows these girls really well too. She has them in another season or has had them throughout their education. And then Connor, he does a great job. I mean, I'm not sure if he sleeps, but he's always giving us data, and it's stuff that we can apply, and it's stuff that the girls can understand, whether it's different teams of where they're at or where we're at for our own self. So definitely helpful.
Yeah, I was talking to Connor, this week, and we were just talking about 2-1A softball. Like, it should be a lot of fun. I mean, you look across the state. I mean, there are a lot of loaded teams. I don't know how much you like keep track of, just each, especially teams out on the east side. But like, man, it seems like 2-1A softball looks really good.
It does look really good. And yep, I've been paying attention over there, and there's some really good teams in 2-1A, and we hope we can be one of them.
When you start scouting some of those other teams, like, I mean, how much does it, especially at the high school level, like, I mean, how much can you go into a scout, or is it more just focused on what you do?
A lot of, we focus on what we do. We have some like key things we're zoning in on, maybe what side of the field or where people are hitting, where balls are going, because that kind of helps develop our pitching report that we're going to go with. So that does help. But also, I think, everybody's different. We just don't see all these teams, just like they don't see all the teams we're playing. So sometimes it's hard to make a comparison of where they're at compared to where we're at.
Melissa Schoepf joining us here, head coach of the TMP softball team. All right, so you're in year 13 now as softball coach. What was it like, getting back and bringing softball back to TMP? Because like when you came, they went on that short 2 or 3 year hiatus of not having softball because of numbers, and then bringing it back. Like, go back to that first year at TMP. What was it like?
Well, it was interesting. The game has just progressed and changed so much, I'd even say, in those 13 years. And really trying to adapt, even like coaching and philosophy and technique, things like that. It has changed. I mean, from when I played to when now is just night and day. But those teams that first started, the ones that wanted to get softball back 13 years ago, they always hold a special place in my heart, because without them, we're not here, and we're probably not having the success that we've had. This has been a really long process. And a lot of very dedicated families and players going all the way back to 13 years ago to now that have bought in and wanted to see this program do well. And without them, I'm not here, and we're not here as a program. So I'm super appreciative of everybody. That's one nice thing at TMP. It is very family oriented, and they'll always hold a special place in my heart. Those first teams, they probably think like, I don't know. I think I've adapted. I think I've probably gotten better a little bit too with some of my coaching strategies. I hope. That's always my goal, is to get better every year. So hope that's the case.
Yeah, it's worked out really well. I mean, you talk about, adapting. Like for you, I mean, you had a very decorated career at Hayes High, and then able to play at Fort Hays State, a very successful softball player. Like, was it easy to translate that into coaching? Because I mean, a lot of people okay, they're a good athlete, they'll be a good coach. And like, there's something else that's needed, I think, to translate into a good coach, to get that message across to, teenagers. Like, was it easy for you, or what was that process like for you when you started coaching?
Right. I think what helps is, I know what they feel like. I know when you're 0 for 4, that, it just seems very, very down. I know that feeling when you have a 3-2 count and the winning run's at third and you give up a hit to lose a game. And so I think just being able to relate that. And on Friday, I had one of them, they're like, are you mad about this or how we did that? And I'm like, no, I'm not. I understand. Am I happy about, do I want us to do better in certain things? Yes. But At the same time, I know what that feels like. And I think having that empathy piece sometimes can be helpful. Sometimes I could probably be a little more empathetic, but I'm also there to push them.
Exactly. You're in the Hayes High Athletic Hall of Fame. Like, do you know how many records still stand at Hayes High that you have in softball?
I don't know. I think I know one of them was broke by Aubrey Thomas, but I I have not heard. And Abby, Coach Gillum out there, and I've been classmates and teammates since we were like 8. So she hasn't told me for a while. So I don't know if those are still stand or not. Usually she tells me, but I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like KSI should send you out like a push notification anytime a record's broken. That way you know which ones are standing and whatnot.
Yeah.
Is it weird at all, or especially early on, you've done it before, but like to face Hayes High, coaching TMP and then facing Hayes High?
Yeah, I think it's a good game. I think both sides kind of get energized to play it. The kids are all friends. The families are all friends. We all know each other. So we try not to like build it up to something that it's not. It's just another game. But it is nice for the kids to get to play with each other. And you see them when they're out on the bases and they tell each other good job and or help each other up if something. So, and for me personally too, with Coach Gillum, we're great friends. And so we've always been very competitive with each other. So that has never changed from the age of 8 to now. We still don't like to lose to each other.
That's right. Hey, Coach, appreciate the time and best of luck the rest of the season.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
That is Melissa Schoepf, the head coach of the TMP-Marian softball team. We'll have more of the program right after this. It's time to bring in our next guest on the show, and that is going to be Dillon at Tarn. I'm really excited about this conversation. Dillon Tarn plays for a beat baseball team based out of Tulsa, but he's from Abilene, Kansas, a graduate of Abilene High School in 2019. Hey, Dillon, appreciate you coming on the show. Excited about our talk.
Hey, I really appreciate you having me.
All right, so we're going to go into, what beat baseball is. I'm going to let you get all, the really good details about it. But I guess the quick Google answer for what beat baseball is an adaptive sports for baseball, obviously for visually impaired or blind athletes. So for you, though, growing up in Abilene, like baseball was always your first love. Was that always your favorite sport?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, baseball and football has been my main ones. I played a little bit of basketball, but it was never really my favorite. But baseball has always been number one in my heart.
What was it like just playing in Abilene, and especially at Abilene High School?
So playing in Abilene was really fun. It's a kind of a small town in Kansas, so there's definitely some talent, and also, it's just kind of average players as well. But I grew up with the same team basically my whole life, so like we all knew each other on the field. I always had good rapport out there, and it was just always super fun. And I played kind of a little bit of catcher, a little bit of pitching, but mostly with shortstop was my main spot. And so it was always really fun. I was always out there grinding in the batting cages and doing all that stuff. So yeah, it's always been super awesome.
Any highlights that stand out from your time at Abilene High School?
It wasn't during the regular school league, but during the summer ball one time I did throw a no-hitter one time, which was pretty awesome.
Nice.
And then when I was 15, I think I was 15 during the summer ball, I also got nominated for best 15-year-olds in Kansas and got to play on an all-star team at the end of the summer, which was really cool.
So that no-hitter, take me through that game, what you remember about it. Any big plays in that game?
So I don't even remember who we were playing, but it was a summer ball game. And I know I only walked one person, and then other that is complete shutout. I want to say 9 or 10 strikeouts, and then I had really good defense backing me up, making some pretty good plays out there as well.
All right, so always loved baseball, and then unfortunate accident happened. So when did the accident take place?
So the accident took place on May 7th of 2017 when I was 16 years old, and it was right at the tail end of my sophomore year. And it was unfortunately, we had literally just won the NCKL title, which was our league for Abilene. We won that for the first time, actually the Friday right before my accident, and we were getting ready for state ball right after that.
What was, I mean, I guess the aftermath of that, then just trying to adapt to a new lifestyle of being blind. Like,
Mhm.
what was that adaptation like for you?
Oh, for sure. I kind of tell people it was definitely a 180 flip. Like I said, Abilene's kind of a small town. So like I'd never even met a visually impaired or blind person before. And so like my family and I, we didn't know kind of what to do, where to go, and we got pointed in the right direction. And I kind of joke and tell people I was kind of like a cognitive baby, where it's like, I was fully able to do, but like I had to relearn how to get around, how to walk, how to figure out what was what, kind of how to, learn how to use my phone again and all sorts of different things. And I honestly wasn't doing the best in life prior to that and was running with the wrong crew, not doing good in school whatsoever, no clue what I was doing in life. And honestly, as much of a tragedy as it was what saved my life because that's what helped me get my life on track and realize how short life is.
Was there a certain time that you felt like, okay, I guess at least comfortable with like, your new life? Like, was there a point like, okay, you kind of figured things out and felt a little bit more comfortable?
Oh, absolutely. Just kind of the more you learn how to do things, it's kind of you kind of learn to get something down. You're kind of like, oh, heck yeah, like, okay, this is doable.
Yeah.
And like, you just kind of keep going like that. And so, I tell people, if you can't change the past, you can only accept what's happened and make your future as best as you can.
All right, so you still love baseball, and so like then
Absolutely.
afterwards, like who introduced you to beat baseball?
Yeah, so after I lost my sight at the end of my sophomore year, the last 2 years of high school, I still got to be a manager and still be with the team, go to all the games and practices and stuff, which was awesome. And they'd still have me in the cage hitting off the tee. They'd put me up on the mound. I could still throw decently off the hill, which was pretty fun,
Nice.
because a lot of that's muscle memory. And so I'd heard about beat baseball and never really had a chance to play it because unfortunately there's not a team in Kansas anymore. I guess there used to be one in Wichita, but I guess they disbanded a few years back. But I have a buddy. He lives over in Missouri named Isaac Isaac McLean, and sorry Isaiah McLean, and he plays beat baseball. And I've told him how bad I love baseball and I'd love to be able to get back out there. And he has a friend from Missouri as well named Chad Dillon, same spelling on Dillon as well. So we had a
Right.
pretty good laugh about that. And he plays for the team down in Tulsa. So Isaiah got in touch with him, told him about me and that I was curious about it. And so we exchanged phone numbers, got in touch, and I went down there for my first practice in January and fell in love with it automatically.
All right, run through the details of how the game is played and how it works, the rules. It's a
Hmm.
completely audible game of baseball, right?
Absolutely. And so it's like baseball, but there's definitely a few differences. So kind of one big difference is the pitcher and the batter are actually on the same team. So that's one really big difference. And so that's kind of been a funny thing. The stat line is kind of a bit different to follow compared to regular baseball because the best pitchers have the least amount of strikeouts because they're on your team. So their goal is to get you to hit the ball. And so the ball's about the size of kind of like a softball and it makes like the beep 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 noise,
Okay.
and that is not even for the batter really at all. The pitcher is sighted, and also I'll back up a little bit and say the game is for visually impaired or blind people. However, if you have like a little bit of sight or anything like that, it does not help you at all as everybody is fully blindfolded for the game. So everybody is completely blackout blind while they're playing. And so when you're batting, the pitcher though is sighted and he memorizes everybody's swing, and so the goal is to keep a consistent swing. So he'll say like ready, set, swing, and so when he says swing, he's already thrown the ball and he's kind of telling you when you're supposed to swing to make contact. And so then once you hit it and the ball goes out there, there's six defenders on defense. And when you're batting, there's a about a 4 foot tall tackling dummy that makes a buzzing noise. And there's one on the right, like where first base would be, and one on the left where third base would be. When you're batting, you don't know which one you're gonna run to. As soon as you hit it, somebody is in charge of the bases buzzing and they'll trigger whichever one they want. That way you can't get like a head start on it. So as soon as you hit the ball, you have to reach the base before the outfielders find the ball. So if you reach the base before they grab the ball, then that counts as a run and your team scores. But if they find it and say got it before you reach it, then you're automatically out. So every at bat's an all or nothing.
Nice. So, like, I mean, so when the outfielders grab it, like, is there like an umpire or anything like out there that like, signifies that they got the out, or is it just based on when they yell
Yeah.
out?
So yeah, there's umpires there. There's usually two. So there's like some that are right by the base, and then there's some kind of like out in the outfield. So they're kind of judging on, kind of the timing if you reach the base, because there's been even in the short games we've played already, there's times where it's like comes down to like, a split second on the guy hitting the base right as they say got it, and kind of who got there first, and they'll even go back and review it as well.
Talking with Dillon Tarn, a member of the Tulsa Lookouts, based out of Tulsa, but Dillon from Abilene, Kansas, and talking about beat baseball. All right, so like, what was it like for you learning? Like, what was your first experience, whether it was a practice or a game? Like, what was the first experience like?
Oh man, it was freaking awesome. Like I said, I grew up playing baseball, and after I lost my sight, I hadn't played it, so I mean, it just felt awesome being back on the field. And honestly, the first time I made contact with the pitcher throwing it and me making solid contact, it was just, oh man, it just juiced me up, man. It was really awesome.
What's the most difficult part? What, defense in the outfield or hitting?
Honestly, I'd say defense, because the batting, you just have to keep a consistent swing. And with like I was talking about earlier, the muscle memory, like I still got my swing down pat. And so the swing's honestly pretty good, but the defense is hard because you got to really listen for the ball. You don't know how fast it's coming, how slow it's coming, if it's kind of in the air, if it's coming on the ground. And it's for this, you use your body. You don't have like a baseball glove or anything. You use your body to stop the ball, and then you have to grab it. And so like you got to hear where it's going. You got to be communicating with your team. That way you're not colliding with any of your fellow blind teammates out there. And so I definitely say fielding is definitely the hardest.
What are some of the scores on these games? Like, how many runs are we getting?
So it varies, and obviously it depends how good the two teams are, but it's usually decently high scoring. And so like I think our tournament, my team, we run ruled both the teams we played down in Texas, and I think we ended up getting, I want to say it was around 17-3, 17-2, somewhere in there.
Okay.
And another difference too is the run rule that we have for beat baseball is a lot different than regular baseball. It's after a certain amount of innings. If your team is up by more than 12, then the other team, at that point, you just stay in the outfield, and the other team gets to use. So, like, let's say you just finished the third inning, and you are up by 12 points. Every game has 6 innings. So if you finish the third inning, the other team will sit there and have the fourth inning, fifth inning, and sixth inning worth of at bats. So they have to either get 9 outs or catch up. So they'll just bat until you either get 9 outs, or if they catch up, then the game keeps going.
Nice. So, like you mentioned, your team's based out of Tulsa, still living in Kansas, but based out of Tulsa, Oklahoma for years. Like, what's the travel like? You went down to Texas. Like, how many games do you have, and when do they take place?
Yeah, so the drive to Tulsa is not too bad. It's only about a 4-hour drive. And so what's nice with that is our team, we also have a team van. So if like my parents can't come, they just need to get me to wherever they're at, and then I just hop in the van with them. But so we had a couple practices in Tulsa. Then, like I said, our first tournament was a couple weekends ago down in College Station, Texas. We played 2 games. We had a third game to play, but ended up getting rained out. Our next tournament is May 29th, I believe. It's the last weekend in May up in Indianapolis, where we'll have games, I think 4 or 5 games possibly that weekend. And then we don't have anything for June. July, we have a home tournament in Tulsa. And then the big one is in August, where it's a week-long tournament, which is what they call the World Series, where it is every beat baseball teams meets in a spot for the really big tournament for a week long. And this year it's in Chicago in August.
Nice. Like, do you have any idea of like how many beat baseball teams are out there?
Oh, I meant to look that up. I want to say I'd say give or take 15, 20 would be kind of my ballpark guess.
Okay.
Like, just for example, down when we went to the Texas tournament, it was our team from Oklahoma, and then all 3 of the other teams are all from Texas. So there's some states that have none, and then there's some that have like 3, like Texas.
And Dillon, this is me being naive. I'm not exactly sure, but like, like, do you feel like there's a demand like for more of these? Like, you talk about the state of Kansas and like, whether it's for, high school or, even adults, like, do you feel like there's a need or a demand for more of these adaptive sports?
Honestly, I'd say yeah, and it's actually kind of cool too because I think it's starting to get a little more recognition. And like, there's even like some teams like in the Dominican, like there's even some teams that are even outside of the country for beat baseball. And it was actually really cool. I want to say it was either the week before or the week after Easter. There's two teams from Boston that play beat baseball, and they actually got to play on Fenway Park right before a Red
Wow.
Sox game, which was really cool to hear about. So kind of getting that recognition, I think, is really huge and kind of bringing awareness to it, which is what I think is important.
Hey, Dillon, appreciate the time and telling your story, and excited to kind of follow up on beat baseball.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me and glad I could help out on here.
That is Dillon Tarn joining us here on the show. We'll have more of the program right after this. Are you looking for a new way to promote your business or organization? Do you want to get your message out to a statewide audience that loves high school sports in both urban and rural areas? Kansas Sports Chatter has advertising opportunities from commercials, sponsoring specific guests, product placements, and even a premier sponsorship. Let Kansas Sports Chatter promote your brand. Contact ksportschatter@gmail.com for more advertising details. That's ksportschatter@gmail.com. Come join the chatter. Time now to introduce our next guest, and that's going to be Mason Voth. He covers Kansas State's University athletics through K-State Online, part of the On3 production. You can find their work at kstateonline.com. Also has their shows streaming on YouTube as well. Hey, Mason, appreciate you coming on the show. I mean, for you, you're a K-State guy, so like, man, I mean, this has got to be like a dream job. Like, how much fun are you having with K-State Online?
It's a blast to get to solely focus on K-State. You know, I went to K-State, so then I did radio in Manhattan at K-Man, and it was all K-State all the time. When I got my job in Wichita, one of the guys that was hiring me was like, how do you guys do 2 hours every day on only K-State? And I hadn't really thought of it. I was like, no, it's just pretty easy for us. So it was definitely unique when I was in Wichita. It was like, I'm worrying about everybody. It's been much nicer getting back to just have one singular focus with K-State, and obviously it helps because there's a pretty good depth of knowledge that's there.
Give me the snapshot of what K-State Online provides. For those that don't know, you guys got a big following, but like for those that don't know, like what do you guys provide and put out there?
So there's kind of two angles to it, where when games are going on and everything, we'll have like your typical kind of game coverage or kind of breaking down and giving our opinions and some insight into what's going on there. But obviously a really big aspect of all of these team sites that On3 or 24/7 have, and we're an On3 site, is that there is the emphasis on covering recruiting and keeping people in the know about that. So Drew Galloway does a really good job doing that for us. He's our recruiting guy. And so we'll talk about it on the KSO show pretty frequently. We try to do at least one recruiting update every week. So there's a good balance of, hey, here's what's currently happening at K-State, but also, you know, giving people insight to this is what they're looking at. This is who they're trying to bring into the program, and kind of balancing everything out and giving a pretty robust view of how K-State athletics is working.
Well, being, from the state of Kansas, like I always feel like, these universities, they pull athletes from all over, and, people are just excited about the results of, K-State, but it's like an extra excitement when they can see like one of their own, like perform well, whether it's on the field or on the court. Like, so it's like Kansas based guys, like, you talk about K-State. I know they've had a bunch of them. So like narrowing down a list of some of your favorite guys that are from Kansas that have played for the Wildcats is probably really tough. But who are some of those guys that do stand out for you that come to the top of your mind?
Well, there's a lot obviously on the football side. But I wanted to make sure that when you brought this up to me, I think Dean Wade is probably one of my favorite Kansans that's played at K-State for a handful of reasons. The teams that he was on obviously were really good. We were in college at the exact same time, so he's a year older than me. So I was there for 3 of the 4 Dean Wade seasons, and just obviously what he was able to do coming from being kind of a small town Kansas guy and having the career he did, 2-time first team all Big 12 and helping K-State win a Big 12 title in 2019 was pretty significant. So that's one of those guys that immediately jumps out to me. But then, the football side, rosters are bigger. For some reason, football in Kansas just translates a little bit better than basketball does. And so there are just a long list of guys that could make it. I'm sure I could sit around for 2 days and try to come up with a bunch of them and forget some really obvious ones that are out there. But when I started thinking about this, another one that really came to my mind that kind of epitomizes what Kansas and Kansas State is all about would be like Cooper Beebe from Piper, because he obviously came up, had a really great career at K-State, started a ton of games, goes to the NFL, is off to a great start with the Cowboys. But it's beyond what he was able to do on the field that I think kind of emphasizes like his background. Like the whole family is great. You know, he had a younger brother, Camden, that came to K-State, and for health reasons, like didn't work out for him playing, but was able to stick around and give a lot to the program. So like, I think not just Cooper, but that entire family is like the epitome of what being a K-Stater and a Kansan really is.
Yeah, and in football, I mean, you have an extra chance. Usually some of those Kansas guys, maybe they'll redshirt, so they have time to develop. But I always felt like K-State, it's always fun to watch, like, you know, those guys, those high school guys that 3 or 4 years later are making a huge impact, and they just kind of develop through that K-State program over the years.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's significant when you look at being able to bring guys in that have kind of that understanding, even if they're from Kansas but didn't grow up as like a diehard K-State fan, they at least have like a solid understanding of what it means to be affiliated with K-State football. And then like that always plays into the rivalry game with KU every year. There's a big emphasis on that. And you'd have to go back probably 2 or 3 decades at least to find a year where KU had more Kansans on the roster than K-State did. And obviously, now I'm 28. I think KU's only beaten K-State 4 times since I've been alive. So it coincides with the winning that K-State's been able to do is having that, like little things like that have clearly contributed to K-State's success, both locally when it's against KU and also on the bigger stage with, you know, K-State's won 3 Big 12 titles in my lifetime. And a lot of those have happened with Kansans kind of front and center in all of that.
We had, I think, Des Purnell on the show, Will Ancio on the show. But I mean, like, talk about like Avery Jensen, like him being from Mays, the Kansas guy, but in a position like that at quarterback. Like, I mean, like you talk about the pressure that comes with that, but also just the excitement, I think, of the entire state just to see him succeed.
Yeah, he's another guy that I had kind of listed there because he's kind of to a different level than probably any other recruit, and certainly Kansan's ever been at K-State, because, you know, K-State's obviously had some really, really good players that have been coming up, and they go to K-State from the state of Kansas, but the recruiting services weren't at their peak like it was with Avery Jensen. Like when he came, there were 3 different sites that were doing this. Social media was just booming, and it was a big, big deal. So he has to deal with that. And like, he was significant too, because when I first moved to Wichita in this fall of 2020, very first high school game that I called in Wichita was Mays versus Derby, Avery Jensen's sophomore year. And so like, and you could tell then that like he was going to be pretty special, and watching that kind of grow. And he's handled it as well as you could want, where, you know, from the second he committed to K-State, like he's a celebrity in this area, and kids were wanting his autograph and waiting for him after games in high school, and he was doing it. And now you see how this is kind of manifested to the fact that he's going to play all 4 years of his career at K-State. And it's starting to become very rare. And I think it's very special, and one of those that long-term, it's not ultimately going to matter what Avery Jensen accomplished on the field, although that is always important. Like him having that bond with K-State and the state and never severing it is really going to go a long way for him, because, you know, 30 years from now, it doesn't matter if he wins every game this year or loses a bunch of them. He's going to come back, and K-State fans are always going to welcome him back. Big time player. Hey, Mason, appreciate the information and keep up the good work. Yeah, no doubt about it. That is Mason Voth with K-State Online. We'll have more of the show right after this. Are you a person that's always on the go? You can still easily keep up with Kansas Sports Chatter with the audio podcast. Hear each episode on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Make sure to follow the Kansas Sports Chatter podcast.
You can help out Kansas Sports Chatter by liking, commenting, and also subscribing to the YouTube channel, Kansas Sports Chatter. Also, make sure you follow along on our social media pages. Sponsors today, Wheatland Electric, serving 14 Kansas counties, delivering energy to more than 20,000 Kansas homes and businesses. SPX Video Wall Solutions. They can install beautiful video monitors, panels in your high school gym. And Barton Community College, always enrolling. Start your next chapter at Barton. That'll do it for today's show. We'll be back at it on a Thursday for Kansas Sports Chatter.